Around the house, hoping to find evidence that the lights and fog were man-made. The cameras didn't pick up anything unusual, but Steve continued to be haunted by images he could not understand. He decided to contact Bill Gibbons, an electronics specialist and an amateur investigator of the paranormal. Gibbons arrived with his own video camera. In the evening, he placed the camera in the woods outside the house. This is the actual videotape recorded that night, which revealed a mysterious array of lights.
It was not like any type of lightning ball or Kroll discharge that I've seen. The radio tower will discharge a ball of energy and it'll shoot along a line. This energy did not follow any path. It almost looked as if it had a mind of its own.
The investigator used a spectrometer to check the strength of electromagnetic and radio waves at the house to make sure they had not caused the lights.
That could be caused by colliding microwave energy and radio energy just by the sheer location of the property and how the radio signals intersect each other. We found nothing there, nothing out of the ordinary.
The investigator then used a compass to look for magnetic disturbances. In the far corner of the house, Gibbons found that the compass sometimes swirled uncontrollably, unable to settle on a position. Gibbons had worked with energy of all kinds. This kind had him mystified. He finally accepted the idea that Steve Lee's house was haunted. The amount of seemingly random energy and the number of faces in the mirror made him wonder if the log cabin might be sitting atop a spiritual passageway from this world to the next, a so-called portal of famous Hopi Indian legends.
The Native American Indians have prophecies of rainbow winds, which is a dimensional portal that they can travel through. Portals and things like these have a significance as pathways and conduits that spirits travel through.
Steve Lee still refused to believe that his home could be haunted, but the portal legend intrigued him. He contacted Dennis Houck, an investigator of haunted houses who knew about portals.
Hopi Indians and people who believe that in the Black Forest area, which goes back quite a long way, that there is traditionally some type of portal that was open to the other side, and literally hundreds of spirits have gone through.
Lee invited Houck to examine his home. The investigator arrived with an infrared camera capable of revealing energy on film. It shows gradients of invisible energy as different colors. Houck took infrared pictures around the house and collected what he considered possible proof of a ghostly presence.
We get all these types of energies when we take pictures on the Lee property. Then if we look at them, enlarge them, without enhancing them in any way, just enlarge them, there's pictures of faces, really truly identifiable pictures of faces. These really are faces of entities or some type of energy forming. They're within these electromagnetic or infrared phenomena that we're picking up.
The strange energy depicted on the infrared film surprised even Houck. Steve Lee still had no earthly explanation for the strange apparitions. The Lees still live in their cabin in the mountains. Then they claim that their photographs still show the mystifying lights and eerie faces. Traces of spirits traveling in and out of this world to the next. Is the Lee house filled with spirits moving through a legendary portal? Are the surprising photographs evidence of a new kind of energy that allows ghosts this passage? Scientists and skeptics offer a resounding no. Tom Flynn, a photo expert, believes many of the anomalies on the photos have logical explanations.
I've examined the Lee pictures and I find far more evidence of common camera problems than of the supernatural. I think that most of these mysterious fogs are various items, including the camera's own strap, that stray very close to the camera, so close that they go out of focus, so close that they're blasted bright white by the on-camera flash. It also creates a lot of lens flare. And that's where you get the characteristic little round transparent circles that kind of glow whitish.
Those who believe that this Colorado house may be sitting on top of a spiritual gateway say that Lee's photos may have captured the portal in action.
I believe photographs can catch things. I've seen photographs that have cut other dimensions before at other places. And be it through a mirror or through some type of very, very fast speed film, we see ghosts or have ghost apparitions in certain areas because the energies there allow that materialization to happen.
Physicist Leon Lederman argues that if believers say there is an energy portal at the Lee house, then they must base their claims on accurate principles of science, not ghostly photographs.
There are many, many unknowns in science, but there's a difference between a scientific unknown and a claim that there are sacred spots or haunted houses which can't be authenticated by science. They're just natural phenomena that are misinterpreted by people who desperately want to believe that and have no idea of how science works.
Neuroscientist Dr. Michael Persinger does know how science works. He says that geophysics can explain the mysterious lights on Steve Lee's property.
When you have geophysical forces focused, even small ones, little teeny ones from the point of view of geophysics, but when you focus them into a small space for a brief time, you can get tremendous magnetic fields generated. If that takes place, you can get fluorescent and light thresholds generated, very much like a will-o-wisp or electrostatic discharges. And if it's above the luminogenic threshold, you can photograph like any other kind of electrostatic phenomena.
Persinger says that these strange anomalies in the Earth's natural electromagnetic field are found at many supposedly haunted sites, and sometimes they intersect with the brainwaves of people who live there, producing haunt-like feelings. It's a theory he has tested in his Sudbury, Ontario laboratory.
Many of the kinds of patterns of fields that are generated in haunted areas that we have found are very complicated. Brief, transient fields, erratic shape. If these forces stimulate the brain, you could have feelings of a presence, the sounds of footsteps or movements or voices, and of course that ever-present presence, that there's something looking at you.
All of these symptoms mirror events described by the Browns at the height of their supposed haunting. This might also explain why Beth Batesel is not able to escape the ghosts that have haunted her for more than 20 years. Certain highly creative people are more sensitive to these mysterious geophysical forces than others, a fact that for many believers justifies their claims of ghostly encounters.
Even though people are sensitive, it does not mean that they're crazy. It surprises me the number of people that have come out of the woodwork to tell me about a light that they've seen in a dark room, or a deceased relative that has come back to visit them. And so that this is a much more common phenomenon than we think, but people are hesitant to talk about it because of the implication of some kind of psychopathology.
Some skeptics think that belief in ghosts persists even in the face of scientific skepticism because it stands as such a deeply held cultural belief.
In a sense, ghosts are in people's heads, but in another sense, culturally and socially, they do exist for them, and indeed for many of